So today, a lot of agents have been asking to learn a little bit more about the workshops. And so I'm going to talk a little bit about the workshops and how to start one, where to look for. I'll show some examples and so forth, because leads are always changing. You can buy scrub verified annuity leads for $400 through Advisor RPM. There's also Financialize, there's Advisor World, a few other sources, and they work. We spend, we buy, I don't know, 10 to 20 of them a month, depending on the flow. But you have to buy about 10 of them to get 1 to 3 sales. And they work, but they're kind of a grind because when you call them, you're just another salesperson on the phone. That's all you are, right? And you have to try to build rapport and credibility versus a workshop. When somebody comes to see you, and we don't do any dinner workshops, I've done them before. Do they work? Yes, but I just not a fan of buying people dinner. And so when they come to see you at an educational workshop, you have a lot of credibility and a lot of leverage, right? Like I was on the radio, I had 3 radio stations here in Texas, my own shows. And the only reason why I got off of them, it just got too expensive and the ROI wasn't quite there. And so, but when people would call in to the radio and then request information, I called them back. I was the host. I had credibility. So when you do a workshop, you are the credibility. You're the teacher that's there, right? They're coming to see you, taking time out of their day. They're not being paid for it. They're not getting the dinner. They get water bottle and Costco snacks. Okay. And so it helps a lot with the objection of trying to prove yourself. We just did a workshop yesterday. Now, given this was the first time it happened to me, but we booked every single person in the room. Usually we book about 65 to 70% of the room for appointments. This time, every single person said that they wanted to meet with me, which is awesome. Now, will all of them sit down? No. I'll probably meet with 70 or 80% of those people. The other folks I just won't get in touch with, right? But I got to that point by doing workshop after workshop after workshop. And the first series of workshops that I did, I was terrible. I thought I was pretty confident and good at talking to people, but I didn't get any appointments. The second workshop I did, I got 1 appointment, made 1 tiny sale. And I was like, man, I know this works because other people are doing it, but why isn't it working for me? Well, it was simply because I just wasn't used to it. You have to get used to it. Just like if the first time you ever sold a life insurance policy or a Medicare policy, you probably stumbled, fumbled on your words, didn't know all the ins and outs. It's a part of it. But to create massive lead sources, workshops are ideal. Like we have a lead surplus right now. Like literally my calendar is booked out 3 weeks. So even the workshop I just did, I can't meet with people till like halfway through April right now. And I do that intentionally because not everybody's going to buy something and not everybody's going to be a good fit. And so if I have a lead surplus, I wake up, I see my calendar completely booked, 8 appointments a day in person or Zoom calls, then I'm not worried about it. A lot of the stress in this business comes from an empty calendar. As long as your calendar is full, even if you're terrible at sales, you're still going to make some of them. Okay. So having a full calendar is great because you know the revenues are going to be there and you can help a lot of people. To get a full calendar, you either have to buy a bunch of leads online or you have to do workshops or get a ton of referrals constantly, right? So you should diversify your lead source also. You should be getting referrals. You should be buying online leads if you have the disposable money. And you should also be doing workshops. I mean, even if you're just selling Medicare, workshops are great. And a lot of people have an objection like, well, it's way too expensive. On this last workshop that I ran, I only spent $2,500. That's it. I don't spend more than $2,500 on a workshop. Okay. I don't have the high guarantee of all these people showing up. Like White Glove is a great service. They're a little bit expensive, but then you don't have to do anything. I just use the marketing program that we tell everybody about and we give introductions to. I don't make any money on the introductions. It's literally you get connected with the company, you run your workshops, and then you keep all the revenue. So that's what we do. We do literally $2,500 a month and it works. Okay. So before you do your first workshop, you need to pick a topic that you're competent in. Okay. You don't want to do a workshop on taxes and retirement and have no idea about any taxes. Just like I've done a workshop on Medicare. It was kind of rough because I understand Medicare, but I don't sell it. Luckily, I had another Medicare guy there with me that did know what he was doing. So we tag teamed it together. And the reason why I did a Medicare workshop, I wanted to try different areas. So early on, I probably have done well over 100 workshops. Early on, I was trying Medicare, taxes, retirement, Social Security, long-term care, Medicare, long-term care, and Social Security, trying all these different varieties. And that's why I was doing the Medicare one, and it worked, and we still got a lot of clients out of it, but I wasn't that confident in what I was saying because it wasn't my area of expertise. After doing all of those, there's only two main workshops that give you the most pull for the least amount of money. That's Medicare and Social Security. The third one is like estate planning. The fourth one is taxes and retirement. And the fifth one is retirement income planning. Obviously, we can't do a workshop saying, hey, these are all about annuities. You should buy an annuity and learn more about annuities. Nobody would even show up to that workshop, right? So you want to do a topic on an area where people have to make a decision, i.e. Social Security and Medicare. It's the least expensive way to get the most amount of butts in the seats. Now, does it take more time to comb through those? Yeah, it does, because you don't want to be bait and switchy. You got to focus on the Medicare or just focus on simply the Social Security and then help them with that solution. And then you go, oh, hey, by the way, like we've done other trainings before on how to cross-sell them. So workshops are really, really simple. People overthink them all the time. And inside the academy, I have an entire seminar series where I even have a mock seminar that I've done to walk you through everything. I give you all the PowerPoints, everything that you want, right? I always tell agents and advisors, you should create your own PowerPoint, because that way you own it. You can use mine as a template. And out of that template, you can design, different slides if you want to, or say different things, or add stuff or subtract stuff. It's totally up to you. But the point of the seminar is that you want to hit on multiple topics. Like in my Social Security seminar, I'm talking about Social Security primarily. Then I talk about RMDs, Roth conversion, market volatility, break-even points. I talk about long-term care, because you don't know exactly what they're looking for. Some people might be interested in reducing fees. Some people might be interested in RMDs or long-term care or Roth conversions and not even care about Social Security. You just don't know. So if you hit on multiple topics, it helps spread it out, but do it in such a way that you're still focusing on the main topic. So for example, when I'm talking about Social Security, what does Social Security and market volatility have anything to do with each other? Well, if the markets are dropping crazy and we're going through a recession, then it might be a good idea to flip on Social Security and not withdraw from your assets. So that's how I position. I tie everything back into the main topic. So it's never a sales presentation. And I'm very upfront about that in the workshops. I say, look, this is not a sales presentation. We are going to talk about timeshares. Then everybody kind of laughs. I say, this is 100% focus on Social Security. We're going to view it in many different ways. Okay. You probably have all been to a workshop before, or if you haven't and you're going to go to another one, most of them are a sales pitch. Okay. Nothing against those other people. They're all probably great people, but that's just the way that most of these things are done. Mine is different. I'm not going to do a sales pitch, even on our second part of the class, because it's a 2-part class. That's very key to say. The second part of the class, when we help you one-on-one individually maximize your Social Security benefits, it's also not a sales presentation. It's literally focusing on all the questions and how we can help you. Yes, it's no big secret that I'm not doing this for free or that I work for the YMCA. If there is an opportunity to work with you, we'd love to have that chance to be your people. But if there's not, that's okay too. Doesn't hurt our feelings. We help thousands of people every single year. And so if we're not a good fit, that's okay. And if you just want Social Security information, that's fine too. In fact, you can even have your financial advisor be a part of this if you want to. You can have them on the phone. You could bring them in. I've had people bring their financial advisor into the office, which is great. And then I talk about long-term care planning and stay away from like annuity planning at that moment. And then we end up writing deals and I get referrals from those advisors. It's really cool. Earlier this week, I met with 2 people that are referrals from a financial advisor. We're going to submit about $300,000 in Securian. And ironically, I have their shirt on right now. Again, I just asked Securian, can you give me a free polo? And they mailed it to me. I like free stuff. So when it comes to the workshops, pick a topic that you're confident in, okay? That you can, if somebody asks you a question, you have an answer for it. Now, you got to find a place to do the workshops. It's always best to do them at a public venue, such as a community college or a library. Some libraries do not allow you to host an event if you're a for-profit company. Others do. You just have to check your area. Same thing with community colleges. Some of them won't let you do it. And then you always have to pay a fee. It's like $150 to $200 to rent the room. Not a big deal, okay? But make sure when you find the place that you want to go to, that it is convenient for them, okay? You want it to be convenient. You don't want to go to a university and then they have to park and walk a quarter mile and walk through 9 different hallways and you have to put signs up everywhere. You don't want that. You want to make it very easy for them. So before you actually book the venue, go there in person, walk around it, make sure the lights are good, make sure they have an AV system, make sure that, it's not too small and it's not too big. You got to go there and scope it all out first. Check out the parking. Do they have to pay for parking? Yeah, you can, do like a valid parking validation, but then you're spending a whole bunch of extra money. So you want to look at all these little things. So once you find a good venue, it doesn't matter if there's another advisor doing it. I go to the Cedar Park Library here where I live. Okay. There's a guy that books seminars the same day that I do them because I do them at 11 in the morning or 12. I don't like doing evening seminars because then I set the expectation that I can meet with them in the evening. And usually by the end of the day, people are burnt out. Do I get less attendees by doing it in the middle of the day? Yes. But do I get better people to work with? Yes. I've done them both ways. Okay. And that's just my personal preference. If you have evenings available to you, God bless you. Do it in the evenings. You'll get more people to show up. Okay. But I have 3 kids. And there's no way my wife would let me get away with doing seminars a couple times a week in the evenings. It just wouldn't happen, right? And I'd be way too exhausted too. And most people are exhausted by that point in time also, okay? So once I find this venue, I go, okay, this is going to make sense. I'm going to book it for like 11 or 12, whatever time frame that they have available. And I'm going to book it for about 2 weeks out. Then I'll start my marketing campaign. So the marketing campaign will start about 2 weeks before. And if you're doing direct mail, you need like a month. And some of these venues won't even let you book out a month. Okay. So while we're doing the marketing campaign, as we receive that data in, we're sending them an email saying, hey, this is your confirmation for the Social Security class. If we get their mailing information, which we ask for, we don't make it a requirement, then we'll print out 2 pages, a page that says what the class is about. So this page for me, it says, hey, Roy Starr's a National Social Security Advisor, certified financial fiduciary, all these letters behind my name that I just pay annual fees to have. I put all that on the letter and I talk about, hey, we're going to max my Social Security. Here's a little bit about my story, just 1 page. And then I have another page with an actual map on it. So you may be thinking, well, why would you put a map on it? Everybody has a smartphone. Well, the boomer market, they like that. So I have a picture of a map showing the crossroads. I put like the Cedar Park Library on there. And then I put the time and the date, the phone number to call if they need to cancel. And then we mail that out to them, right? So they get a piece of mail. We're showing, hey, I registered for this class. Oh, this is a little bit about it. Okay, cool. And then like about 2 days before, sometimes a day or 2 days, depending on the day of the week before, we send out text messages. So we used to call all the time, but nobody answers their phone. And then you just end up leaving a ton of voicemail. So what we've migrated towards is just simply doing a text message to them, right? Hey, by the way, this is confirming the class and the time. And then they will text back if they can make it or if they can't make it and so forth. Okay. So when we do that, we get a lot of people that respond back, usually about 20%. And that doesn't sound like a lot, but it is. And then when we have 70 people sign up, like this last time, we had 70 people sign up. We only had 15 in the room, 15 couples. Okay. So like roughly 25 people out of 70 that signed up. You're like, wow. But that's the reality of doing digital marketing. Because remember, it's a lower barrier of entry. If somebody is sitting in their trailer at 3 a.m. smoking Pall Malls and they see a Facebook ad about Social Security, they'll probably fill it out, right? Are they actually going to come to the event? Who knows? Okay. Direct mail, though, is a much higher booking rate in the sense of coming to the venue. So if you had 70 people on direct mail, you'd probably have closer to like 50 people show up. Okay. But that's because it generally takes effort. They have to log in, register, or call the phone number on the card, right? But direct mail is also a lot more expensive than doing the digital marketing. So we go back and forth between the two. We're going to actually start doing some more direct mail marketing because we've noticed that in our area, there's a little bit of saturation in the marketplace. So we're going to do some more direct mail. And then we go back and forth all the time. Okay. So when it's really important to send the registration out to them on the first time they sign up with an email. And then if you have their mailing address, then you can send them a letter and then you send them a text or a phone call the day before. And then what we do for enhanced credibility and leverage, I don't call them. There's no way I'd have time to do that. I have my mom call them because my mom works with us and she's perfect because she's in that demographic and she's a chatty Cathy with people. She loves talking to folks. So it works out well there. So if you don't have your mom working with you, you can use like your wife or I mean, we usually prefer like a female voice on there because it's less confrontational, it's more relatable, and there's lots of studies about that. So if you can do that, that'd be awesome. It'll help you. So then the other thing about this is preparing for the event. If you have a schedule at the library and it makes sense, or a community college, and it's at 12 noon, you want to get there at 11 and make sure the venue will allow you to get there. Because I've done venues before. I was like, yeah, I'm early. They'll let me in. They didn't let me in. They did not let me in till like right before it started. And we had to hustle around. So be sure of that. But you want to get there an hour before. It may not take you that long to set up. In fact, it takes us about 15 minutes, but you never know because maybe the AV doesn't work. Maybe the lighting stopped. You don't know what's going to go wrong. You always bring extra equipment. What we used to do at venues that we weren't too familiar with, we would literally bring a whole backdrop cloth and a projector just in case theirs did not work. Okay. You want to bring extra HDMI cables. You want to bring an extra extension cord because you don't know what the situation may be, even if you went there before and you scoped it all out and you tested everything out, because you can do that at these events. You still want to bring that just in case it doesn't work. I've had it happen where we actually had a jam-packed room. I was doing these mailers with the company Afia. They're great. It's expensive, but they work. And we had 40 people in this room. It was like one of the biggest events we did because your target, you should try to get 25 to 30. Anything more than that, you start diluting it and it loses that personal connection. And if you only have 10 people, then it makes it look like you don't know what you're doing. Okay. But we had 40 people here in this event and the AV quit working. It just totally quit. Like the HDMI cable would not work. And so what we had to do is quickly pivot. I brought my cloth and set up my little stand I got on Amazon, and I did the projector there and we finished the class. It was awesome. But I wouldn't have had that opportunity if I didn't have that prepared for the worst case type of scenario. Okay. So get there early, set everything up, be prepared. Now, when you're setting everything up, it's all about first impressions. Okay. What you want to do, you can go to Canva and do this for free on the Canva thing. I don't pay for Canva. I just use the free stuff. And I got a whole bunch of family pictures and I put it on there and it made a slide. And then it's like a video slide, like a carousel, basically. And then I have that playing on the laptop, on the projector or the TV or the screen, whatever they offer you there. I have that playing when people walk in. I also have playing, I like CCR, Creedence Clearwater Revival, so I have that playing in the background also. You could do country music, don't do rock or hip hop or anything like that, but do something that's relatable to their genre. So when they walk in, it's not just this quiet, awkward, stagnant room. They have a little bit of music playing. They can see your family pictures up there. Nobody gives a shit about all your awards and how much money you make. So there's agents that would put up there like, oh, top producer and certified this and that. Nobody cares. They care about how much you care. How do you build relatability? Well, you show pictures of your family, your grandparents, your kids, everything. Okay, that's what we do. And people go, oh, yeah, that's cute, da, 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 blah, blah, blah. So you have that playing and you just loop it. Make sure there's enough pictures on there to make about a 5-minute video, because people will generally start showing up anywhere between 30 minutes early and 15 minutes early. So sometime in that ballpark, you'll get people that are trickling in. Now, you definitely want to start right on time, but I'll get into that. So when they walk in, now they're going to have the music playing in the background. If they don't have audio, get like a little boombox thing, like a Bluetooth thing, and then play it on your phone. Just play it on your assistant's phone, get on the Wi-Fi, put on airplane so you don't get a phone call that rings when it goes off, okay? And you don't have to have it super loud, just enough so it breaks up the stagnant quietness, okay? When they walk in, you need to have a table, and the table is going to have a sign-in sheet with their name on it. And then whatever marketing provider that you use, they always provide you with a sign-up sheet. So you want them to sign in. When they sign in, you hand them a packet. And I don't have anything here because we're all packed up, but you hand them a packet like this. And the packet is like, we go to Vistaprint, we make our own like little folders, and the packet has information about Social Security. So you want to create information about Social Security. So when they grab that and you give them a pencil, not a pen, you grab that and then they sit down Now they have something to read and look over instead of just sitting there waiting 15, 20 minutes awkwardly or on their phone. You give them this information, and then inside the academy, I provide all the documents that we use. You can use the same ones, use your own, doesn't matter. Just put something there that they can thumb through and have a page for notes. And then you also want to have a class review form too. That's how you're going to collect their information in order to call them to follow up and book a time and do all that fun stuff. Okay. So when they come in, they're going to sign up, sign in their name. They're going to get a packet. They're going to be welcomed. And then ideally bring somebody with you. Don't do this by yourself, because if you're doing it by yourself, it looks like you don't have that much leverage. Have an assistant, have your kids, your grandmother, somebody else there that is helping check and sign people in. Okay. I don't check and sign people in. I let the team do that. And then it just makes me look better. And then I come on to the stage or the platform or in front of the class when it's my time. Okay. Now, if you can, now that COVID subsided for the most part, you can still greet people, walk around after they've been checked in, greet them, shake their hand, say, hey, thanks for coming. I'm happy to, during the class, you have questions, let me know, blah, blah, blah. So the other thing that you want to have with the workshops is, including that packet, is a little bit of snacks, just something. I get Fiji water from Costco. Why Fiji? Well, because if I use Kirkland water, it looks cheap and it crinkles and makes noise. Fiji water has a better perception, a better first impression. Oh, wow. Ooh, Fiji, this is fancy. It's not really that fancy. And technically the water quality is not that great either, but it has that perception of being high end. Okay. So you use Fiji water bottles. I don't put them in ice. I used to put them in ice. I used to have Coke and Diet Coke and all this, and it was just water mess everywhere. We put them in the refrigerator the night before. And when we go there, they're nice and cold. So then we line them up. Okay. And then we put organic snacks that do not require napkins, because nobody wants to get greasy mess. And we make sure that the packets themselves don't make a lot of crinkling noises, right? Like, this is too crinkly. I wouldn't use this, right? So we use, at Costco, you can get these organic trail mix individually packaged, make sure they're individually packaged. Trail mix individually packaged. Like, we also use like donuts from a local, I know that's kind of greasy and messy, but if we do an earlier morning one, we use this local place called Round Rock Donuts and people love it. So we've done that before. But to keep it real simple, just go to Costco, get a little bit of chocolates, like the Ghirardelli chocolate balls, and then get like some granola snacks and some just mixed nut snacks. That way they have something there. They can take it, they grab their bottle of water. It's giving them a little bit of something, right? And then I mentioned that during the workshop too. I was like, look, I'm not going to buy you dinner. You don't need me to do that. You're getting snacks from Costco. And people laugh and they get lighthearted about it, because you want to make this like a conversation when you're up there. Super easy, relax, no big deal conversation. It's not something that has to be super structured or organized, because remember, most people are not going to even remember what's on the slides. They're going to remember you. That's the whole point of the workshop. They're going to sit there and go like, huh, I like this person or I don't like this person. I want to sit with them or I don't want to sit with them. Okay. That's the whole point of doing the workshop. And then make sure you start right on time. If people trickle in, I still let them in. It's no big deal. But I respect everybody's time. I start right on time and then I end right on time. Sometimes I go a little over if there's a lot of questions. But then what you want to do once they are sat down, and you always want to give enough space between the seats. You're sat down, you're going to turn the music off, get your PowerPoint up, and then you're going to start introducing yourself. And when you introduce yourself, the most important part of the seminar is the beginning of the seminar and the end of the seminar. Okay. So when you go to introduce yourself, you want to share more about why you do what you do. So what I do, because I have my mom there, I talk about, hey, look, thank you so much for coming out. And there's different mixed opinions. Like, don't say thank you for coming out. I do, because that's just who I am. Okay. And it works fine. We don't have any issues with it. So I say, hey, thanks so much for coming out. The whole reason why we're here today is my mom. And I go into my mom's story. They want to know why they're sitting there, right? I don't go right into the facts or right into the data. Okay. And I'll share the story about my mom and how she became disabled. And the only source of money that we had was a Social Security check. And this is why I do what I do today. We want to try to help people. Then I go talking about like, hey, I help thousands of people every year through education. We wrote an international best-selling book on Social Security. And then if you're using our book program, then you can simply say, hey, we have a book on Social Security that we give out for free to all of the folks that we work with, blah, blah, blah. And then I show some pictures of the family, like my wife and the kids, and I tell little jokes about it. I say, hey, feel free, because it's usually smaller classes, right? I say sometimes we speak in front of 1,000 to 1,500 people or just a couple hundred. Other times we speak with small local groups, just like we're doing today. And the value of us doing a small local community event like this is that you can raise your hand and ask questions. If I'm speaking in front of 500 people, I can't do that. Okay. And don't worry about interrupting me. I'm married with 3 kids. My life is nothing but interruptions. And then everybody kind of gets lighthearted and they laugh, and it just kind of breaks the barriers down, right? And I'm very upfront. I tell them this is not a sales presentation. This is about Social Security. I hope you get the most value out of it, blah, blah, blah. And then I start going into the actual slides and explaining things. Okay. Now, towards the very end of the workshop, this is how you're closing, right? A lot of agents will just say, well, thanks so much, appreciate it. And then we'll walk around and see if you have any questions and if you want to book a time with us. That's not going to work, okay? So I have very specific slides that they're free. They're in the academy that I use, and they work really, really well. So I'm not going to go through all of those right now in the spirit of time, but we can have another call on that. But essentially, towards the end of the workshop, this is your opportunity to do your best to get as many people as you can to sign the form. Now, what we do is we don't book an appointment right then and there. Sometimes, rarely, other agents and advisors, they book the appointment right then and there, but that's a lot of like pressure on people. So sometimes they'll just forcefully book an appointment just so that they don't want to say no. But we don't do that. We say, hey, look, there's a class review sheet. If you can, go ahead and pull it out. Please fill that out. It's no big secret. I already have your information. We're not going to call and bug you a million times or throw you on an email thread that you get emailed once a day. We're very fortunate that we help so many people that we don't need to follow up and bug you. Okay. If you want our services and our assistance and our help, then we can help you. So on that form, it's a survey. Please let me know what information specifically that you would like. Would you like a copy of one of our books? Would you like more information on long-term care? Would you like to see a break-even analysis? Do you want to have a Social Security maximization report ran for you? Do you want that? Mark it on there. Then towards the bottom, my mom will call you and book a time so we can visit with each other. It could be over the phone. It could be on Zoom. It could be at your house, or it could be at our office, whatever you're most comfortable with. Remember, the second part of this class, there's no cost to it. There's no fee. I'm simply here to help answer your questions on Social Security. If there are other areas that you want to talk about, great, bring them up. I'll be glad to give you my opinion. I love giving my opinion. And then they kind of laugh a little bit. And I said, the point of it is it's not a sales presentation. This is purely to get you the information. You can fill all that information out, boom, boom, boom. And then I say, please leave the intake form on the desk there, or you can drop it off with my mom. And then we'll follow up with you for more information. And then afterwards, what I don't do all the time, and I should be doing it, but we get so freaking busy, you take a short video on your phone of the library after everybody's left or whoever and say, hey, thank you. Hey, this is me, Roy. Thank you so much for attending the class. I hope you got a lot of value out of it. The vast majority of you are wanting to have to attend the second part of the class where we actually break down your individual Social Security results. We look forward to doing that. We'll be reaching out to you here over the next couple of days. Please feel free to always contact me. Here's my contact information. Thank you so much. We're here to help. We appreciate you. Boom. Something simple like that. You can use a program called Loom, Loom. It's like $10 a month, super cheap. And it does a really, really good job of just compressing the video file. And you can email that out afterwards and then also send it in a text. So now you're touching on them again. And then you have either yourself or your assistant call the next day and go through all of that information to book times with people onto the calendar. You do not want to wait. You want to call them the next day. So we have a rule. We call them 3 times, send 3 text messages. If they don't answer, then we just drip on them once every other month or once a month, depending on the timeframes that we have. And then to the point where until they say no, or they ignore us for a year, then we let it go and we throw them in our email drip system. You'll be very surprised that the more and more you do this, the more and more people will actually say, hey, look, I went to your workshop last year. Now I'm ready. You just never know, right? And if you keep doing the workshops on a monthly basis, even if you start off with 1 and you do it in the same location, you don't want to do more than 1 workshop per location within a 30-day time frame. You got to let the market rest so that it's not oversaturated. but once a month, do it at the library. And if you want to do 2 workshops, then you do one at the library, one at the community college, or one at a different library. You can rotate to different areas of your local city, right? And you keep doing that, and you'll start getting alumni, is what I call them. People that I've had people come to the workshop 5 times, and then they meet with me. Blows my mind. But hey, you just keep doing it. It's great branding as well. All right, let me look at some of the questions here. Yeah, plate liquors. Yeah, I don't like buying dinner for people. Not really worth it to me. Is it better to have an outside venue? I own a building that has a classroom that we could use. That's really cool. That's a good question. You can use an outside venue. So during COVID, the libraries were all shut down, right? Everybody was afraid of the world. And so what we had to do is use wedding venues. And it's a place of happiness, okay? And I use wedding venues because nobody gets married Wednesday at 11, and it was very inexpensive for me. And a lot of them were outdoors, and it had a nice projector. The one thing I would caution on, though, like I own a building, and then the new office that we're getting, it has a massive conference room. I could put a bunch of people in there. But if it's at a location that is tied to your business name, sales automatically comes to the consumer's mind. And so we've done a lot of research on this. I've spent hundreds of thousands of dollars on seminar marketing and spoken with like some of the people that have been doing it for 15, 20 years. They never do it at their place of business because it has that sales perspective. You could still probably get people to come and it would still work. Just like hotels. We've done hotels, the pull rate's a lot lower because people associate hotels with like a timeshare pitch or something, right? But if you do it at a public library or a community college, it's less confrontational, it's more educational approach. So you'll have better luck with that. But outside, yeah, that's fine. What company does the videos, pictures in the loop? Canva, Canva. It's just like an online digital marketing platform. You can literally go in there and create a slideshow and just upload all your photos and drag them in together. And then they give you a page, you put 2 pictures there. And then the next page, you do 2 pictures, and then you set a time where it pauses on that page. So like I would just do like 3-4 seconds, right? So that it just goes to the next picture like that. And I just loop it, and you download it as an MP4 file. It's pretty simple. Like I'm proud of myself if I can send an email, and I'm not tech savvy, and I was able to figure it out. Yeah. So yeah, anyways, that's pretty much the basics of the seminar. Obviously, there's a lot more to it than just that, but on a high level, I mean, I think there's like 8 hours of video training on seminars inside the workshop there, inside the academy. So if you're not doing them, you should try them because you can start them for a very, very low budget. I did a test and I did 2 workshops for $1,500. Okay. Did I get a lot of people? No, not at all. But I did get people in there and I did make sales. And then what I told people when they came is like, look, I created this class to be intentionally small. I wanted it to be very small so it's intimate where you can ask me questions, I can interact with you, and we're not bogged down by a whole bunch of people. And so that breaks the objection there, right there. So you say that up front to people, and then you set up the room so that you don't have like 12 rows of tables and chairs. We always set up the room so there's like barely enough room, and then we can always add stuff. It's a better perception versus this whole big classroom because people will be thinking, wow, where's everybody else at? Am I in the right spot? You don't want to do that. So you can start a workshop very inexpensively. Now, a lot of life insurance agents or Medicare agents will ask me, well, hey, I want to do a workshop on life insurance for final expense. You can try. I don't know how many people are going to get. Always focus them on Social Security, Medicare, taxes and retirement income planning. This is the only 4 that really, really work. Or you can do estate planning too. And you can even partner with somebody to do estate planning. So let's say, for example, you have an attorney that's a friend of yours. Depending on their rules of marketing in your state, you can have the attorney do it with you and then split costs. You can have a CPA come with you and split costs. So you can do the high level presentation about taxes, retirement, RMDs. And then you can have the CPA, if you get like a complicated tax question, pop up and say, hey, I'm a CPA, I can legally give advice. What is the company that sets it up for you? So there's different companies. We've used White Glove before. We use Mass Media TV for digital marketing. There's Steep Digital. There's RA Digital. There's quite a few different ones. Those companies, all they run for us is simply the Facebook ads. I mean, essentially you could do it yourself. I just don't want to deal with Facebook. And so I pay them a fee and they run it for me. The best that we've had is Mass Media. And if you want that information, it's a specific department inside of there. just email me or text me, and I'll give you the link and you can reach out and contact them. They only charge $500. So for every workshop, it's $500. So when I say 2,500 on a workshop, I give them 500 to do everything, and they put $2,000 towards ad spend. Very simple, very transparent. Other companies, they'll charge like 4,500 and they'll say, we guarantee you 60 registrants. Okay, that's fine. 60 registrants. That's not butts and seats though. That's just people who fill it out online. It's a huge difference, right? So the least expensive has been mass media with the best results in our experience. And I've tried virtually every single one of them out there. Now, the next best is doing direct mail. We have a great relationship. Many of you know Lead Concepts. They're wonderful. I mean, Chris is a good friend of mine that owns it, and we work with all these people. So I know a lot of us know Chris and that whole team. They do great for mailers. And if you can find a venue that you could book out like a couple months in a row, that's awesome. Do it, and then you could drop the mailer. So what we do is like we get that venue, we'll drop Social Security class mailers, and we'll do mass media, Facebook digital marketing too to really fill up the room. So if I'm doing mailers and digital marketing, I might just do like $1,500 or $1,000 towards the digital marketing, and then I'll do the other 2,000 or 3,000 towards the mailers. So I have two things working because there's different people that will fill out different things. Like I would never in my right mind fill out some BS Social Security class on Facebook. That's just me. But we've had people that are worth $25 million fill it out online. So you don't know. I would be more in tune to filling it out, picking a piece of direct mail and calling the register for it and looking it up. So you can do a combination of the two as well. The point is do something, right? And if you are on a budget, start very, very low and just do like $1,000 or $1,500 and just know that you're not going to get that many people there. Do your topic. You can even make it shorter. You could make it like 15 to 25 minutes long, right? And just say, hey, look, I'm going to talk to you today about the differences between Medicare Advantage and Medicare Supplement. Let me show you those two differences. And then you say, by the way, Medicare does not cover long-term care. If you want more information about what Medicare does not cover, you can come visit with me. That way you respect your scope. And if you're talking about supplement, you really don't have that much of a scope versus Advantage plans. And if you buy it yourself, you're not restricted to carriers. I know United Healthcare, Humana, they'll pay for anything. They'll buy you a car if you write enough Advantage plans with them. But if you just do it independently, you have a lot more flexibility that way. But pick a topic that you're competent in and do it. Even if you don't know anything about Social Security, you don't know anything about Medicare, and all you do is sell annuities, well, then do one on called taxes and retirement. Don't do one called annuities and retirement because nobody will come. But you do one on taxes and retirement, and you keep it high level. You're not giving advice. You're just saying, hey, look, here are some of the taxes. You have RMDs, which can affect your IRMA, which can affect your Social Security taxation. It's like basic stuff. If you spend an hour researching taxes and retirement, just Google that. You can read like a 2-3 page form and be able to teach a class on it. And if they ask you something complicated in your workshop and you don't know the answer, that's okay. You can go ahead and say, hey, you know what? Let me get back to you on that. I want to double check with our tax professional so I give you the most clear answer. I will email you the following day or later today, right? It's okay to acknowledge if you don't know something. I have random questions asked to me that I don't know. And one guy asked me about phantom income taxation on his portfolio. And I said, I have no idea. That sounds like a Batman story. I don't know. I mean, I know a lot of things, but I also don't know a lot of things. So I will get you the answer though. And then he respected that. And I got him the answer and we ended up selling a $200,000 rollover out of it, even though I didn't know the answer in front of everybody. So some people would be like embarrassed about it. Don't be embarrassed. People are not going to expect you to know everything. So if anybody else has any other questions, let me know. I'll check my phone too if you sent me a text. If the library doesn't allow you to do it and it's not a community college, where else is there to do it? Okay, well, the other way to do this is like a recreational center, like a rec center. You can sometimes rent a room. Just look for community and nonprofit places to do it because it has less of a stigma of sales. Like we've done one literally at the YMCA or a lot of local governments, like your city planning office or local courthouse. They'll have like actual separate rooms that you can rent and they don't care. It's really cool. So keep in mind too that some of them are going to require insurance. They're going to say, hey, we need you to have general liability insurance. And you can buy it super cheap. Just talk to, Chamber of Commerce. That's awesome. You can just call your insurance person or call Karen. She'll help you with it and just get a general liability they're cheap. It's like a couple $100 for the year. And then you say, hey, I'm just going to add you to the cert, and it'll have the venue on the cert, and you're all set to go. But most places, at least we experience, they don't require that, but some of them do. Even if you live close to like Phoenix University, there's Phoenix universities everywhere. They'll let you rent the rooms, at least they used to. We did a couple there. And if you're teaching at a university, oh man, instant credibility, right? Even though you're just renting a room, but it has a really good credibility there. So check out the local universities, community colleges, and public libraries, and that'll be a great start for it. And if you want to learn a lot more about the seminars, just go into the academy and watch those videos. So a lot of the agents we work with all over the country, they say, hey, I want to learn more about it. Can you spend a couple hours with me? No, you can watch all the videos. Then we'll go over all the questions that you have. And then you can call me before your first workshop and after your first workshop and let me know the results. And that can help you get better and better at it. But ultimately, you're just going to have to do it probably 5, 6 times, and then you'll start getting into the groove of it. Now, when we do a workshop, I can literally have my sleep mask. I use a sleep mask because I have to have it dark. I'm blindfolded, and I can do it, because I've done it so many times. I say the same thing every single workshop. My team's like, oh my God, he's going to say the same thing again. But it works, right? I've developed that pattern and that habit, and it works. So just being consistent with it, like anything else, is the more you do it, don't get discouraged if you totally bomb the first few, and nobody really cares, right? You probably never see that person again anyway, but just keep doing that. And if you want more information on how to get the marketing connected to it, just email me and I will get you all the contacts you can handle for all these different marketing programs. So other than that, I got to finish moving out this entire office and over to the new office around the corner so I can stare at my new permanent office that we'll get in 30 to 45 days. All right, guys, appreciate it. Thanks so much.